All right, where are we? We are Newmark Classic. Newmark Classic is where we are. It's perfect outside. 9 o'clock start. Again, took about an hour to get up here. We're pretty close to the Orbital Crit series where we were last week. Feeling pretty good. I think I have a pretty good chance here. I don't want to speak before too soon, but there's two 90-degree turns, and that's about it. The goal, well, I'll get into that on the bike, but I'm feeling pretty good. Had my Pop-Tarts this morning. Forgot a Red Bull, but we'll be strong. We'll get ready for it, and I'll see you on the bike.
Saints are stabbing with the quirky glee, riding waves of this melody.
Chopped up voices in a coded stream, building up to a soaring dream. Baseline syncs with the skittering scheme. Every moment feels supreme. Bounce, bounce through the endless.
All right, a couple things to work on today. Stay in the drops as much as possible today. I haven't been doing that in the past. Staying low, getting air up, making sure I have control of the bike still. I think today's a good day to do it. There's only two 90-degree turns. There's only two 90-degree turns in this course. It's pretty simple, and I'm assuming it's going to be pretty fast. Now there are some bumps. I mean, my Insta 360 has fallen a couple notches because of all the bumps already. But yeah, stay low and then stay wide in the corners. I don't want to be cut off and have to use my brakes to slow down, so I'm going to make sure that I'm staying wide, staying in the front third of the group, so that when attacks go, or just that accordion effect, I'm ahead of the fight. So I'll see you guys at the start.
Feel the skies, feel the skies. Heavy bass in our veins. Break the chains, break the chains.
All right, we are back yet again with another. We're in Southwest Ohio again for the Newmark Crit. This race is not part of a series. It's a one-off race with cash on the table. I think our 4-5 group is racing for a pool of like 325, split between the top three people. And this race is a Spice 1. I throw my previous knowledge basically out the window about being conservative and defensive riding. And I put some energy out on the course. Now, will this be beneficial to me? I guess that is for me to know and for you to find out. For this race, I had a couple things in my mind. I know I already went over it in the brief, but I had two suggestions from viewers that were also in the race. One, this was from Brian Maddock, who always seems to make his way to the podium. Get low when eating the wind. Now, one of the things that I was going to work on was being in the drops more. So Brian's tip goes basically hand in hand with what I was going to try to do anyway. And two, from Mark Gilmore, do what's necessary to stay in the top third of the pack. I'll tell you, this is something that I really focus on going in, and it requires a lot of energy, but I think I was capable of holding my own for the most part. I mean, right here, you already see me bridging up to somebody that broke away. So I keep putting in the energy, and hopefully it pays out for me. Being led out by Derek Rice, this guy is super strong. He's a super strong breakaway rider. He consistently sets the tempo for basically all of the races that I'm in with him. He attacks basically right off the whistle, and that sets off the start of the tactical gains for the race. There are a couple options when someone makes an attack like this. First option is to join the attack. This is beneficial for the obvious reason of staying with the front group and not risking being left behind in the brakes if the brake sticks. However, this does use up more of your energy, and for the attack to even be successful, you're going to be asked to take a turn pulling for the group. Now, pulling for me is probably the worst thing that I can do because I am no breakaway specialist, and I'm sure as hell not strong enough to be in a 4-man break for 40 minutes. My one strength that I do have is my ability for a short burst of power or sprinting. So the reason I did decide to go this time with the group was because I know Derek is super strong, and when he's out front, a lot of the times he stays there without even asking anybody else to pull, which is ideal for me. The other option to take during an attack is to sit back and hope the attack comes back, it doesn't stick. Now in this case, that's a super viable option because we're only 2 minutes into the race. It's not very likely that the brake is going to stick for the whole entire time. And I think I made the right decision for me, but really either way would have worked out just fine. I'll skip forward to the other side of the course on the same lap, and one of the guys pushes out in front. This attack didn't really put any pressure on the field, but my heart rate was only at 155 and I felt the call to action to see if anyone else was interested. So I go for a bridge and I'm basically testing the water, seeing if anyone will jump or not. I hit 1500 watts, which is a power PR for me. And we end up sticking together for about half a lap, and I tell him I am no longer going to take any rotations because it'll bleed my energy too thin and I won't have any energy for later. The guy I've been working with is Preston Fonseca, and even after we were pushing apart from the group for more than half a lap, he still has energy and goes off the front. And this ends up screwing me for the next minute because I'm left out in front with no draft. This is not the type of aggression I was talking about. This is just bad placement by me. I'm still trying to figure out how to get out of a situation like this, and if you have any suggestions for me, just leave me a comment down below. I'd love to learn. Eventually I do grab his wheel before heading into the next corner though. As everyone begins to get complacent with the speed of the race, Derek launches an attack on the right side.
One right.
I'm quick to call it out, but the width of the road is working well for his move. Whoever was in front of our group went to answer the attack, and the guy in the orange in front of me passes out the other two guys. So I felt that I needed to go at this point because we would have a group of four that would have the potential to do some damage. Our group gets pretty spread out, and I thought this is the time I need to put some power down to close gap, and disaster happens.
No! What? Fucking shit.
Yep, my chain pops off. I am beyond pissed at this point. Personally, I was having a great race. Felt like I was doing a lot right, but nope, it is not the day for me. Now, there was a small sliver of hope that I was hanging on to at this point. The marshals gave their little spiel before the race, talking about mechanical failures and having to go to the pits. So I'm thinking to myself, oh wait, I'm fine. I can just get looped back in on the next lap. Let's see how that goes.
Did my chain pop off? Is that mechanical? No, I don't think it is. Really? Damn. Well, fucking fun.
And like a toddler throwing a tantrum, I ride away, all frustrated. Now, I don't know why a chain drop isn't a mechanical. Maybe you guys know more than I do. Maybe you agree or disagree. I have no idea. I personally think if it happens, give me the lap. If it happens to somebody else, you know. But I'll skip ahead to a a bit of my rant and then waiting for the rest of the people to get around, because I'm just gonna join in on the next lap and act like nothing happened.
Well, I don't know if it caught it. My chain popped off. I'm just gonna wait for people to lap me. Apparently, the chain falling off isn't a mechanical. I just have too much power in the sprint. So I'm gonna jump onto the back of the group and then act like I'm still in that lap and see what I place. Imaginatively. But last place. I was doing really well too. I was covering attacks. I did pull a couple times, which I shouldn't have. But it happens, I guess. I don't know, maybe I should have pushed and try to catch up if they're gonna be slow. Yeah, probably should have done that. I still don't even see them. Jesus. There they are. Alright. I guess it's time to give myself a new chain.
Woo! Finally, after 4.5 minutes, the two front people join back on and I can get back into racing mode. We're now halfway through the race, and unlike the other crits that I've done, everyone has stayed together essentially. No one's been dropped other than, I guess, me, technically, and nobody's broken off the front yet either. I'd say it's probably due to a fairly featureless setup for the track, and because of that, there's no gaps in technical ability that separates anybody. And so everyone's pretty happy just sitting here and passing the time, and we're all waiting for somebody to get a little antsy and try to make a move. Preston makes another attack coming up the right side and does a really good job making everyone put some extra work in, really adding some pressure to the field. I call it his attack to give somewhat of a heads up, but no one really responds to it, and no one really follows it up, so he does manage to get some space out of it, but as fast as he attacks, it basically gets reeled in at a pretty good speed. Once we get down the flat towards the finish line, everyone's back in the group. Coming into 27 minutes on the race, I come up this corner and I put myself in the middle of nowhere. There's a small opening behind Karsten in the green up in the front. My only assumption looking back is that I wanted to try to make it into this space because again, I was trying really hard to stay in the front third of the pack to really minimize the amount of delay that I was going to hit by with being in the back of the end of the group. But I start to move up and the guy in the orange sort of boxes me out of the area. I don't know if he heard me coming or if it was just coincidental, but it puts me in a horrendous position where I'm just holding power next to the group, eating the wind with no opening to move into. And I've sit in this space for a while, so I figured I had two options. Either allow the group to pass me. This would allow me to be reabsorbed in the group without expending too much extra energy, but it does put me in the back where I really don't want to be. Or I can make this pseudo attack where I pressure with a small sprint. Now, why do I think this is better than just moving in the front? By putting in a small attack, I have a chance to get some people to react, maybe jump and spread the field out and give me a chance to maybe bully my way back into a drafting position once they move up. This wouldn't be possible if I just decided to head the group. So obviously I went with the latter option. And you could see that the initial move did work. I got Carson to jump over, but in hindsight, I should have slowed way down instead of holding the power that I was. If I slowed down, I think it would have encouraged the group to move past me instead of just sitting behind me. And while all this is happening, I get counterattacked. I'm not sure who led the charge, but they made me look like a chicken with my head cut off. I can see in the rear cam and on the Insta360, and they take the very right side, and I'm absolutely clueless. I will say, in the end, I think I did have a net gain in position. I didn't get pushed to the very, very back, and I got into a draft position, but perhaps this is a rather optimistic outlook on the situation. So I made another small push forward on the left side, and as soon as I open up space, Derek counters and takes point for a while. I'm not sure why, but at this point I remember thinking that it was like only the three of us in a break. So looking back at the footage for the first time was really funny because it couldn't be further from reality. Everyone was there with us. I'm going to speed this up, but here I start to play some tactics, knowing that we are nearing the end of the race and both of the guys in front are really strong riders. So I stay third wheel, but more importantly watch as I continue. Each time one of them would flick for a transition to keep a constant pace going, I would back off just slightly, basically saying either you're going to sit out in the open or you can get back in rotation to go again. And I knew if I had any chance of winning, which I didn't because I was still a lap down, I would have to conserve as much energy as possible for a bunch sprint. So by making these two go back and forth, they're going to have to use way more energy than I'm assuming they want to if they want to maintain that speed, while I get to sit back and rest to a certain degree. But then Derek goes off the front again and pushes forward, so maybe it was all meaningless. But this is the last lap, so we can see how it pans out from here. Yeah, they dusted me and a couple other guys that are back with me. I'm still going like 26 miles per hour and they're not even in sight anymore. Yeah, so kudos to all of them for the amount of power they put out. But for me, it is back to zone 2 training. I will say that I learned a ton from this race, from choosing when to push and to knowing what my own capabilities are. Clearly from the outcome of this lap, I was pushing way too hard, way too early. So for the next one, I'll probably dial it back just a tad. But I do like the aggressive style of riding that allowed me to stay towards that front side of the group.
Men's Cat 4-5, Preston Fonseca. Second place, Men's Cat 4-5, Brian Maddock. And first place, Men's Cat 4-5, James Duval.
Well, that was depressing. I'm gonna blame it all on the chain job, even though I lost it in the last sort of
Thanks for taking the video.